I've met with the Commissioner and with the senior management team of An Garda Síochána to flag the need to strengthen enforcement and to strengthen the numbers in the roads policing units. And we have a commitment as part of the improved recruitment we're seeing in An Garda Síochána that there will be a roads policing dividend out of that.
Staff and families have been evacuated from a hospital in Gaza's middle area as bombardment increases in the region. Staff from Médecins Sans Frontières had been providing care to patients in the Al-Aqsa hospital until yesterday. It comes after an incident on Friday where a bullet heavily penetrated a wall in the hospital's intensive care unit. Here's Donald Gorman from Médecins Sans Frontières.
Yesterday morning, Israeli forces dropped evacuation orders via flyers on the surrounding area as well. So we took the very difficult decision to pull our staff out of Al-Aqsa along with their families. MSF had been providing care to war-wounded patients at Al-Aqsa in response to the massive influx of patients that was due to the ongoing fighting and the targeting of this area of Gaza by the Israeli forces.
And finally for now, Ariana Grande has announced she'll be releasing a new single this Friday. Yes And is the first piece of new solo music the singer will have released in 3 years. Within less than an hour of a pre-sale link for the upcoming single being posted to the star's website, it already crashed due to high traffic. That's it for now. More in an hour.
News Talk weather.
Thanks to Ryanair, United might be gone, but you can still watch Champions League football live with Ryanair's low fares to Madrid and Milan.
Rather cold and foggy today. Some remaining frost will slowly clear with sunny spells developing. However, fog may linger in many areas, staying dry today apart from the odd shower near the east coast with highs of 2 to 6 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
You are very welcome back to Off the Ball Sunday on News Talk. Alanna Cunnane here with you until 7. Still loads to come. Maeve de Berka will be talking with me in the following half hour or so. We'll have Olympic Hockey Hour with Annalise Murphy and Caroline Hayes between 5 and 6 then. Plus all the reaction from St Bridget's 4-point win over Castlehaven in the All-Ireland Senior Club Football Final, as well as Glen Kilmacud game, which is ongoing here in front of us, but I won't lie, we can't see much of it. First though, Nicci Daly, hockey star and e-scooter star as well, is joining us. How are you going on, Nicci?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Plenty to talk about here. Great to have you as well. We just before you came in there, we had Katie Mullen playing in the break. It was great to hear from her and everything. She's looking forward to Paris now as well.
Yeah, I actually, while I was sitting in the waiting room, I saw it myself, and it's really exciting. The girls they're already out there, and I think they kick off their first game on the 13th of January. So big tournament, Olympic qualification. It's always tough but exciting, and it's the one that you want to be at. So I'm lucky enough I'm going to get to go and support the girls over there and take in a bit of it from the other side for once.
Brilliant. Well, can't wait to hear all about that. We'll touch back on the hockey now in a second, but first we'll go into the Electric Scooter Championship, which you just featured in, and you're heavily involved in fostering the next generation of women in motorsport as well. So for those who don't know, where does your love for motorsport come from, Nicci?
It's very much a family passion. My dad was a motor racing driver here in Ireland for 20 years, and my uncle Derek made it all the way to Formula 1, so I suppose it's just been in the blood from, birth essentially, and just developed a passion for it from a very young age. Never probably thought I'd get the opportunity to race in anything, certainly not on two wheels. If I was going to be racing anything, I would have, assumed it'd be cars. But racing electric scooters, which is definitely very different and new and exciting.
And especially considering a lot of people would know you from the hockey scene, winning the silver medal in 2018 and competing in Olympics and European Championships. What led you then down the path of hockey instead of motorsport growing up?
I think obviously my dad passed away when I was quite young, and I think the motorsport route really wasn't an option then. It's a very difficult sport to navigate. It's very expensive. And so it just wasn't really an opportunity or, an option, I suppose, for me. And I was just very sporty as a kid, so I kind of would play anything, soccer, Gaelic. And then I got introduced to hockey when I was in secondary school. And, people are asking me, why did you pick that one over Gaelic or whatever else I was playing, and honestly, it was I found hockey the most challenging. And that's why I had to stay with it. I was like, I can't let this beat me. I was like, I need to figure this game out, and it was just always a constant challenge to kind of get good at it and continue to develop and learn the different skills and understand the game and all the tactics. So yeah, it kind of just captured me, and it was like 15 years trying to figure it out. But
You did well enough anyways, just
okay.
about anyways.
Yeah.
I know, much better than that. But you were saying you were playing Gaelic football too. You played for Dublin, so that was at a high level as well. You know, you're multi-talented across a variety of sports.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very short stint that I did on the Dublin team. But again, you know, great. It was sort of like the first time I was a part of sort of a high performance team, or like a team at that kind of level. And yeah, like I loved Gaelic. It was really my number one sport when I was growing up. And I suppose I probably saw myself going down that route until I got brought into the Irish team and the word Olympics was mentioned, and I was like, oh, okay. I might try that route and give it a go. But yeah, I love Gaelic, and maybe one day I'll go back to it.
Jeez, you heard it here first, Nicci Daly. Back to the Gaelic. It's amazing though how many Irish sportswomen, like we're here for Nollaig Naman Day on Off the Ball here today, compete across such a number of sports. You know, Lindsay Peat, Sarah Rowe, yourself. Like, what do you think that's to do with? Because there is such a variety of talents across so many sports as well.
I think it's just that women are just so talented in general. No, I think like probably a lot of people growing up, well, certainly in my instance, I was exposed to quite a lot of sport, thank God. And I just wanted to play anything I could. I had an older brother, and I suppose I kind of followed everything he did, and you know, whatever he'd try and play, I'd try and play. But I think it's great that we've so many you know, sportswomen who are multifaceted, and they can kind of move from sport to sport. Probably there's a few sports that do translate a bit easier, like, you know, Gaelic football, maybe rugby, soccer. There's ball. That kind of is a lot easier to maybe to transition over to. So it's great that we can have women, you know, crossing over and playing at such a high level.
And you're doing that obviously as well. You're in the e-scooter championship, which brings you all around the world racing. How did you get into that, or was it always something you had your eye on?
Never something I had my eye. I didn't even know it was a thing. And it wasn't a thing until last year when they basically just launched a whole brand new sport. And I got into it through kind of friends of mine, Naomi and Christopher, who would work a lot in motorsport around the PR and communication side. And they were working with the e-scooter championship at the time in that capacity, and it was around the time when they were trying to recruit athletes, and they wanted athletes, male and female, from a range of backgrounds, sport and backgrounds. So yeah, they kind of put me forward for it and never looked back.
And then e-scooter as an area, just for people who don't know, can you kind of expand on what it involves and tell us more about it as well?
Yeah, so it's electric scooter racing. For anyone who's, obviously everyone's familiar with what a scooter is, and the electric scooters that are found around cities, it's not them, but they are like custom made, bespoke, like pieces of equipment that are made specifically for racing. So, you know, they have racing style tires. They come in 3 different compounds. So it's very much like a professional motorsport, like not Formula One, but in a way they have specific tires for the scooter. There's 3 compounds, you know, so it's very much a racing performance scooter. And yeah, they race them in different cities all over the world with, I suppose, a view to promote micromobility and more efficient and more sustainable, you know, transport system within the city centres. So it's been great. I've loved it ever since I took it up, and hopefully we'll get to do a bit more this year.
And they have top speeds of 140 kilometres an hour?
Yeah, top speed is like 140 kilometres an hour. We don't reach those speeds. We'd probably get like 80, 90 kilometres, which is still fairly quick when you're standing up on 2 wheels. So,
and then how do you find that, the translation obviously from hockey to this sport now? The pressure, I'm sure, is just as high.
I think because it's so different, and because I've no real racing experience myself, I haven't really put any pressure. Like, I don't have huge expectations, only just that I want to do the best I can and get better at it. But thankfully I've kind of done well enough in it that, I haven't let the Daly name down or anything, in the racing terms. But like there's not a lot of skills that transfer over from hockey other than the balance and sort of the agility. The lower leg strength is a big help. But there's a lot to learn. Like, it's a completely different sport, and there's so much to kind of learn about just how to ride a scooter, all the different terminology, everything. So it's been a steep learning curve.
I was just about to ask, how do you set about training for starting that?
So just like, to be honest, a lot of the hockey training that we would have done, particularly like from a physical standpoint, it's very similar, like lower legs, core is really important, and just general kind of cardiovascular fitness is important, because people, you might not think it's actually quite intense when you're on the scooter and your legs, it's like being in a wall sit for 10 minutes basically.
I don't envy it.
So just general fitness around those kind of areas is one way. We don't get a huge amount of time on the scooters, so what I have done in the past is get on like a motocross bike or a miniature mini bike basically, and try to learn how to lean and weight transfer and understand how the forces, cornering, braking, accelerating, and all those sort of things, trying to put them all together and do it a little bit quicker than I had been doing it. So
it's going well so far, though.
Yeah, it is. It's going great. Like, I mean, I don't come from a huge amount of experience in it, but I think I've probably done well enough for the experience I do have.
So more than that anyways, it's probably, like you touched on as well, a nice way to honour your dad as well, because when he was in motorsport, now you're in a form of motorsport as well, it must be nice.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, I mean, last year I raced for Team Carlin, who are better known for being a motorsport team in cars. They would, launch the careers of Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo and Sebastian Vettel and stuff. So Connor, my cousin, actually raced for them in GP3 when he was coming up through the ranks, and raced in IndyCar for them as well. And Trevor Carlin and Derek would have known each other when Derek was starting his career, like 40 years ago. So it was nice to be able to continue that sort of family relationship with Carlin, who are a very well established motorsport team. And just to be able to be part of something that I've been so passionate about, and especially since it's my family, like this is what they did, and just get to have a taste and be part of it's been really cool.
You were talking about Carlin there, you're moving team now. What will that mean for you, and how does it kind of change things?
Yeah, I'm with a team called XPRS, so Express Racing, and 2 new teammates as well, which is great. It's nice to be able to work with different people. It's very different, like coming from a sport where this is kind of your team and you see the same people. Moving from, where I was at Carlin to XPRS now is different team, different owner, different way of doing things, different teammates. But it's been great, and it's good to work with new people, and it's just continuous learning, and hopefully we can do some good stuff this year.
Do you ever get nervous?
Oh, all the time, yeah. Especially like on the start ramp. So we start on a ramp and you take off down the ramp, but you've got 5 scooters kind of going into one corner. 5 into 1 doesn't always go. So it's a bit nerve-wracking, yeah. But it's kind of once you get off the start line, it's like anything, you get nervous before a match, but once the whistle goes, it's like, relax.
The adrenaline must be something else as well, I'd say.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a very different experience from like hockey, say. It's like everything's happening so much quicker, and you have to react so much quicker. And there's also like, when you make a mistake, the consequences are a lot bigger than if you make a mistake in a hockey match. You can recover and somebody else has your back, or they'll pick up the pieces. But in racing, like you can get really disheartened really, really quickly, because you could be leading the race and you make one tiny mistake and now you're third, and it's like, oh God, why did I make that mistake?
How do you find that solo aspect of them? Because I see you don't have the teammates to lean on. Like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a lot different, and so you have to kind of be on a little bit more. And I'm still learning a lot, so I do make a lot of mistakes. So it gets to me quite a bit. But yeah, like it's totally different. But having teammates then is really helpful, because I come in and straight away I'm like, right, somebody just tell me what I'm doing wrong and how can I do it better. But you don't get that in the moment. You have to try and figure it out yourself while it's ongoing.
Coming up on half an hour gone, Glen are leaving 7 points to Kilmacud Crokes 3 in the All-Ireland Club Championship semi-final. So it'll be interesting to see how that one's going. The weather seems to continue to be just as bad as it was when we were starting out. So we'll keep you updated on that one. But to go back to you, Nicci, we were chatting before we came on air there about Formula Female. What's that project and what does it involve?
I started Formula Female in 2018, really with the view of, I suppose, opening up and making the sport visible for women in the sport, in motorsport. Like, really, it was through my studying in Cranfield doing motorsport engineering, and then working in an IndyCar team as an engineer, and just, I suppose, realising how few women are actually on the track and off the track. So I wanted to kind of use my experience, because I thoroughly enjoyed working in the sport, getting to travel all over the country in America. And, you know, I used to say my office is the pit lane and there's like cars going 200 miles an hour past me. But it was just really cool, and it was a really exciting place to work, and it was challenging, and you never knew what was going to something different happen all the time. And I felt that, there's an opportunity here to kind of showcase the sport and let more women know that there's careers out there. It's not just about the driver, it's about the engineers, the mechanics, you know, the PR people, the marketing team. There's so many people that make a motorsport team successful. So I set up Formula Female, and since then it's been an evolving project. So I had the Go Girls karting initiative in 2019, and then just last year I partnered with an esports company in America to create Sim for STEM. So using sim racing and the virtual world to be able to actually, again, make the sport more accessible and more affordable, and be able to get more women involved in sim racing, and also in the STEM side with engineering and all that stuff.
And it was actually upcoming driver Alex Colby who was telling me you kind of go into schools and reach out that way. It's a good way to get them when they're kind of looking of what to do, really.
Yeah, so we just finished a programme actually before Christmas with the Dublin City Sports partnership, and we did a 5-week course with 5 schools in their catchment area, and we had 200 girls all around that kind of 14 to 16 age group. So trying to get them where, you know, you can maybe still inspire them and give them opportunities to explore different avenues and see school in a bit of a different light as well. So, you know, we did a 5-week course. Every week we'd come in, teach them an aspect of racing and show how science and engineering and maths can be applied to it, and then put them in the simulator so they could take the theory and translate that into the sim. But it was all about them themselves, so giving them the opportunity to understand how they can better their own performance and how maths is actually useful, because every time they get in the sim, they want to get better, they want to get faster. So if they can understand it from, you know, a theoretical point of view, and they can understand why maths is important and engineering and those kind of things, it makes so much more sense to them, because they're getting something out of it when they get back into the sim.
I'm sure the teachers love to see you come in there.
Yeah, so. No, we had incredible feedback from it, and you know, it's definitely something we're going to continue with Dublin City Sports Partnership, and we ran a couple of programs in the States as well last year, and got a busy kind of few things in the pipeline for this year. So, but yeah, it's a great way to kind of just open up a sport and let young girls see that this is an avenue for them, and they can compete, and they can be really, really competitive at it as well. So.
Why is it, do you think, that there aren't more women involved in motorsport?
Well, I think it's like traditionally, historically, it's been very male dominated and pretty much, you know, targeted towards men. And that is changing. Like, you know, there's a huge amount of work going on globally with different initiatives. You know, they just launched the More Than Equal campaign, where David Coulthard and his team are looking to find the first female F1 driver. And, you know, they're going to support, they're looking for young talent and give them all the support that they need. And that's another, you know, that's another reason why we haven't had any females make it to the top. It's just that lack of support, the lack of funding, the investment, and then just the stereotypes as well, you know, like, oh, you know, women can't drive, or this isn't for women, they're not strong enough, they're not this. All of that has been proved to be totally not true. And so now the efforts are to kind of change the narrative and change the perceptions, and it's going to take time, but it's good to see that the sport at the highest level is behind it, and there's different initiatives to encourage more girls to compete and show that there's support there for them in so many different ways that they can actually continue to make it to the top.
It's probably one of those things as well, when there's not like a standout superstar, you can't get that next generation to just see that they can do it as well.
Yeah, and it's hard because, like, how do you get the superstar without building the base of the pyramid and building the talent pool? And it's like, you know, you got to build a talent pool for somebody to get there, but then you can say, well, if you get one there, you inspire and you build a talent pool off that, you know, so both need each other, if you know what I mean. And I think definitely the first one is going to be so important, because it's going to just change the game completely. And I hope that the More Than Equal campaign and everything that they're doing to find that first one will, you know, generate a massive pool of more girls getting involved in it. But, you know, I suppose it's what I'm doing then with Sim for STEM and other initiatives, trying to work on the base of the pyramid and trying to increase the talent pool of all girls in any aspects of being in motorsport, and just grow those numbers, so that, you know, the more numbers we have, the more likely it is for them to make it to the top. So.
A prime example of that, can't see, can't be, was you guys in the World Cup 2018 silver medal. Was that the highlight of your hockey career, or what was it for you?
I think it definitely a highlight for sure. But I think I was only actually having this conversation with Hannah today. We were coming down from a wedding. Was actually qualifying for the Olympics. Like, you know, it's so funny. People ask you, like, oh, how'd you get on the Olympics? Like, did you win a medal? And it's like, no, but it was qualifying. It was getting there. It's like, it's so hard just to get there. Yeah. That was the massive achievement, because it'd taken me the time I'd spent on the team, 12 years to try and qualify. So I think the qualifying for Tokyo was probably the real highlight, because it was like the ultimate goal was to get to the Olympics, and and finally we did.
And looking back now, you retired 2 years ago now. What fed into that decision, and looking back, were you like, yeah, that was the right time?
I think it was just, it was time. Like, I was getting old, and I had achieved everything I wanted to achieve with it, you know, like and more. Like, the Olympics was the goal, but we were lucky to win a silver medal in the World Cup, which I never saw coming or thought that would be achievable. And I'd given sort of all my time. I didn't really have much more to give, and I think it was just the right time then to kind of step away, and I was happy enough to go. I was ready.
You were talking about there how you're going over to see them. They're playing their Olympic qualification tournament in Valencia next weekend. Yeah. That'll be exciting. How are you? You're obviously keeping tabs on it.
Yeah, myself and Shirley are actually going out, so we'll be out there supporting the girls, and it'll be great to be on the other side for once. And I know that, you know, it's always hard when you have to sort of rebuild a team after so many people stepped away, but I know the girls have done a great job in that transition period over the last 2 years, and they've had new players come in and get up to speed as quickly as possible. So I know that group and everyone in it will have worked extremely hard to get to this point, and I know they'll be like so excited to get going, and you know, the Irish supporters will be there in force, and we'll give them all the encouragement and support that we can.
It's that kind of thing as well. You're trying to harness the goodwill and everybody, the attention that was when the 2018 and then the Olympics just gone as well. So it's trying to harness all that and keep it going now as well. Yeah, exactly. I think they've got a massive opportunity here to kind of, you know, do back-to-back Olympics, which would be amazing, especially for the sport, considering the last Olympics was the first time the Irish hockey team had ever qualified, the women's team. So keeping that momentum going will be really important for the girls and for the sport in general. And I think they can definitely do it. So you won't have the itch now when you're watching them?
Oh God, no. My bones would be creaking and muscles would be tightening just watching them sprint. I'd be like, oh, thank God I'm not out there.
Would you ever see yourself going into coaching or anything like that? No.
I think I'd be a terrible coach. I'd no patience and I'd probably kill everyone, so they'd have no time for me either. No, I don't think I'd go down the coaching route. I think I'll just stick to spectating and just,
Perfect.
watching.
Well, we'll be keeping an eye on you there and on the scooter situation too. So my thanks to Nicci for popping in today. If you missed any of our chat, you can catch it back if you're a member wherever you get your podcasts. The Sunday Paper Review podcast is up there too for you as well. Sinead O'Carroll and Linda Maher joined me in studio for that. We have Annalise Murphy and Caroline Hayes coming up in a little bit between 5 and 6 for Olympic Hour. Up next, though, former Irish international Maeve de Burca will join me in studio talking football.
Off the Ball on News Talk. The Home Show with Sinead Ryan.
Coming up on the latest episode of the Home Show podcast. It's our first for 2024, so we're going to be looking ahead for Ireland's aspiring homeowners. Will this year finally work for them?
The Home Show
With Daikin.
That's the Home Show podcast on newstalk.com or on the News Talk